talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists, inflation versus deflation.
Well, I mean,
You're at Mar-a-Lago. I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.
Well, I was going to talk about one thing, but then a bunch of other things happened in the last half hour. So I was going to talk about if we should be all worked up about this Obama thing that they're using as a smokescreen to get us off the Epstein stuff. But then a lot of Epstein stuff started happening. So I think we're going to talk about that. And by the way, 9 o'clock on the dot. How do you like that? So I guess first we got to start with this. So we got, I don't think this is AI. We got Epstein pleading the fifth when asked if he spent time with Trump and young girls. So here, let me share this screen real quick. And yeah, this is a tough one. This is a tough one to defend. So check this out. Tell me if this is AI.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?
What do you mean by personal relationships?
Have you socialized with him?
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Yes, sir.
Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18?
Though I'd like to answer that question, at least today, I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir.
Have you ever had a personal relationship with
All
Donald
right, so we got that. We got that, and then we got this that came out today that Trump's Department of Justice is warning him that his name does appear in the Epstein files.
In the Oval Office, a mugshot of Barack Obama. This is not what presidents do. Okay, we have some breaking news. This is from the Wall Street Journal. Justice Department told Donald Trump in May that his name is among many in the Epstein files. Again, this is from the Wall Street Journal, and I'll read a little bit from the article. When Justice Department officials reviewed what Attorney General Pam Bondi called a truckload of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein earlier this year, they discovered that Donald Trump's name appeared multiple times, according to senior administration officials. In May, Bondi and her deputy informed the president at a meeting in the White House that his name was in the Epstein files, the officials said. Many other high-profile figures were also named, Trump was told. In the Oval Office, a mugshot of Barack Obama. This is not...
Then we have to consider this, though. So is it possible that they planted something in there? Mike Johnson seems to say so, meaning that Biden's administration could have put some... I guess, what do you call them? Landmines in there.
Quickly weigh in on Epstein. Many are hoping to see more of those files released. There could be future court proceedings. Is there any reason that you have to believe that any documents were tampered with by so-called deep state operatives?
look, it hasn't been my area that I've worked on. Unfortunately, I wish I knew more about it. It's been in the Department of Justice. One of our concerns is, of course, that it was held in the hands of the DOJ leaders under the last administration, the Biden-Harris administration. And we all know how crooked and corrupt so many of those top officials were, how they engaged in lawfare against President Trump. And he has a concern, and I do as well, that things could have been doctored in those records. So that's part of the concern. But I'm for full transparency. We all are. Maximum transparency. The president is as well. There's no daylight between him and the Republicans in Congress. And we'll continue to advocate for that, to let the people see the records and draw the whatever conclusions they will.
And finally, you got this. So I guess it's coming out that Epstein was at Trump's wedding.
One of the photos that K-File found confirms that Epstein actually attended Donald Trump's wedding to Marla Maples. And this is the proof. Again, this has never been published before. So this is a new image. You haven't seen it out there on X or anything like that.
Weird that's
This
coming
is
out
the
now.
proof that Epstein attended Trump's wedding at the Plaza Hotel in New York. And in the photo, what you see is Epstein entering the Plaza Hotel. The wedding date of this is December 20th, 1993, in the center of their friendship, which of course continued. And for comparison, we'll show you on the right a photo of Trump and Marla Maples at the same location under the entryway arch. Andrew Kaczynski of K-File is here with the new images of Trump and Epstein. And Andrew, I shared one of them there, but so let's start with the one at Trump's wedding. I mean, this is a significant development.
Well, yeah, it is. Trump's wedding to Marla Maples in 1993 was dubbed the wedding of the century by the media at the time. And although we know that Trump and Epstein were friends during this period, this is really the first time that it's actually been reported that Trump invited Epstein to his wedding. This is, we should note, more than a decade before those first allegations of sex trafficking against Epstein. But as you know, Trump's relationship with Epstein has been under the microscope recently. Now, besides that one photo of Epstein entering the reception at the Plaza Hotel, we can also see him in the background of another picture. That's Howard Stern on the far right, along with Robin Leach from Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. And Epstein is behind them at the wedding, almost seeming to be photobombing them. We also found this photo from just a few months earlier, Donald Trump with two of his children talking to Jeffrey Epstein. That's at the opening of the Harley Davidson Cafe in New York in October 1993. You can see Ivana there. She would have been just about to turn 12 years old in that photo.
Yeah, you can see Ivanka right there between, it looks like between Trump and Epstein. All right, these are never before seen photos, Andrew. I know you also found some video of Trump and Epstein that was from later of them talking that has also never surfaced before. What's that?
Well, that's right. This is from 6 years later in 1999. This video has never been seen before in this context. It shows Trump talking to Jeffrey Epstein just before models hit the runway at the Victoria's Secret fashion show in New York in 1999. You know, the only other video we've seen of the two men was 7 years before this. Trump is at the show with Melania, who's of course now First Lady, seated a few feet away from Epstein. You can see them chatting during the show as well. Allegations that Epstein sexually abused underage girls didn't surface until 2005, years after this video was shot.
Right, but this, of course, establishes them together and obviously very friendly in 1999. So, Andrew, when you get all this, and all of this, is, I just want to emphasize, right, has not been seen before. So you actually called President Trump. You called him directly to ask him about this.
Yeah, we were not on the phone very long. I think our call was about 30 seconds or so. But when I asked him about the wedding photo, he said, he sort of paused for a second and then said, "You've got to be kidding me," before calling CNN fake news and then hanging up on me.
All right. So, I mean, first of all, I wonder where all this footage and information suddenly coming from. I'm not ruling out the idea that Ghislaine is leaking some stuff or trying to put some pressure on Trump to give her the old pardon, but I got one more for you. So Trump's going at our boy Thomas Massie, and Thomas Massie is seizing this moment right now.
I'm sure you've seen the attack ads by now. Look, it's simple. They're attacking me because I'm holding the Washington machine accountable. Whether it was being the lone no vote against Pelosi's $2 trillion COVID bailout, or just this month, voting against adding $4 trillion more to the national debt. And now, I'm leading the charge to force a vote to release the complete Epstein files. I'm Thomas Massie, and I approve this message because I'm not folding, I'm fighting, and I'm just getting started.
All right. So, I mean, that all sucks, but some good news that came out is that apparently, let's see, well, let me finish up the bad news first before I hit you with some good news. So apparently the lawyer that represented Epstein just up and died suddenly. So Roy Black's death is not linked to the Epstein scandal, according to his family. Major news media reported on Tuesday about the death of renowned Miami criminal defense attorney Roy Black. Many outlets highlight that he was a member of financier Jeffrey Epstein's prominent legal team in his sex abuse case. Well, it was only a matter of minutes, if not seconds, that the conspiracy theorists began spewing out online social media about a suspicious link between Black's death and the resurging Epstein scandal, blah, blah, blah. So, in reality, Black had been fighting an undisclosed terminal illness before he died. Okay, we'll call that a coincidence. There's plenty of things that we don't need to reach on. But then you got this one. A federal judge blocks the release of the Epstein files, the ones that Pam Bondi was talking about, the court case hearings. So a U.S. judge has denied a bid to unseal grand jury material from the investigation into the late convicted pedo financier Jeffrey Epstein. Judge Robin Rosenberg found that releasing files from Epstein case is a request that was made last week as the Trump administration faced mounting pressure over its handling of the Epstein files would violate state law. The decision came as the Wall Street Journal published a story alleging the president is among hundreds whose names appear in the Epstein investigative documents held by the Justice Department. A White House spokesman called the report nothing more than a continuation of fake news stories concocted by the Democrats and the liberal media. The paper reported Trump's name appeared with many others, including other high-profile figures being named in these documents, is not evidence of any wrongdoing. The BBC has not been able to independently verify that report. The Wall Street Journal reported that the Justice Department had told Trump the documents included hearsay about many people who socialized with Epstein. Attorney General Pam Bondi is also told the president that child porn and victim information that should not be publicized were among these records, according to newspapers. Trump had directed Bondi to seek the release of all grand jury materials, prompting the Justice Department to ask courts in Florida and New York to release these files related to cases in both U.S. states. Her 12-page order on Wednesday, Judge Rosenberg ruled that the transcripts could not be released due to guidelines governing grand jury secrecy set by Federal Appeals that oversees Florida. The court's hands are tied, she ruled. The judge said the government's argument last week that the files should be released due to extensive public interest and transparency to the American public did not meet the requirements for documents to be unsealed under special circumstances. Bitch, who do you think you are? You work for the federal government, and the federal government exists because of the citizens of the United States. And you're going to tell us that us demanding something is not good enough for you? Like, the government thinks that we exist because of the government, but the government exists because of us. She also declined to transfer the issue to New York, where two judges are separately deciding whether to unseal transcripts related to Epstein's 2019 sex trafficking probe. That request is still pending. Judge Rosenberg also ruled that a new case be opened so lawyers can make additional legal arguments for why the transcripts should be released. Blah, 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 blah. All right, so not a shocker, but I mean, I'm sure the freaking attorney general can apply some pressure there if she wanted to. So, you know where I stand with this. You know, and I think it's like it's where a lot of you guys stand too, is that I don't think he'd be acting this way if he wasn't worried about something. I mean, shit, I hate to say that. I really do. Like, I'm somebody who's probably never said a negative thing about Trump for the last 4 years, for the last 8 years, for that matter. I mean, I would call out things here and there, but yeah, I mean, like, what are you supposed to do? Are you supposed to like blindly move on and like take what they're feeding you? Like, the media cycle feels so stupid and annoying, and like we're just was it like they're just like throwing meat at us, like we're dogs that'll like jump up and grab anything, and you know, like, oh, all right, next thing, because like they brought up another thing, like we're like allowing the White House to control the news cycle, and I don't like that. Like, I was really excited and proud last week when Trump wanted to move on from this thing, and the public didn't let him move on from it, because like we shouldn't let the White House be the tone setter of what's being spoken about in the media. And I mean, we got this now with Tulsi. They're making a whole big thing out of it today, which I mean, I guess it's a big deal. Sure, it's a big deal that but we all knew what happened with Obama with the 2016 thing, where they're trying to keep Trump out of office. I mean, here, like, we'll give this a look real quick.
Which investigated the claims that were made by an intelligence community assessment ordered by President Obama and published in January of 2017. First, Putin's principal interests relating to the 2016 election were to undermine faith in the U.S. democratic process, not show any preference of a certain candidate. In fact, this report shows Putin held back leaking held back from leaking compromising material on Hillary Clinton prior to the election, instead planning to release it after the election to weaken what Moscow viewed as an inevitable Clinton presidency. In the January 2017 intelligence community assessment that President Obama ordered, John Brennan, who's CIA director at the time, and the intelligence community intentionally suppressed intelligence that showed Putin was saving the most damaging material that he had in his possession about Hillary Clinton until after her potential and likely victory. The report goes into great detail about the information that Russia and Putin had on Hillary Clinton, which included possible criminal acts like secret meetings with multiple named U.S. religious organizations in which State Department officials offered, in exchange for supporting Secretary Clinton's campaign for the presidency, significant increases in financing from the State Department. They also had documents that showed the patronage of the State Department to State Department employees who would go and support Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. There were high-level DNC emails that detailed evidence of Hillary's, quote, psycho-emotional problems, uncontrolled fits of anger, aggression, and cheerfulness, and that then Secretary Clinton was allegedly on a daily regimen of heavy tranquilizers. Then CIA Director Brennan and the intelligence community mischaracterized intelligence and relied on dubious substandard sources to create a contrived false narrative that Putin developed a quote-unquote clear preference for Trump. Brennan and the IC misled lawmakers by referencing the debunked Steele dossier to assess quote-unquote Russia's plans and intentions, falsely suggesting that this dossier had intelligence value when he knew that it was discredited. The intelligence community excluded significant intelligence and ignored or selectively quoted reliable intelligence that contradicted the intelligence community assessment's key findings on Putin's alleged support for Trump. Including this intelligence reporting would have exposed the ICA's claim as implausible, if not ridiculous. The intelligence community assessment omitted reliably sourced information, such as how some Russian intelligence officials were quote-unquote planning for candidate Hillary Clinton's victory, while others assessed neither Trump nor Clinton would respect Russia's interests. As was reflected in the ODNI documents that we released on Friday, multiple intelligence community assessments released in the months leading up to the November 2016 election concluded that Russia had neither the intent nor capability to impact the outcome of the US election. On December 5th of 2016, the FBI and ODNI gave the House Intelligence Committee its first post-election classified briefing, in which there was no mention of Putin aspiring to elect Trump by either agency. The Presidential Daily Brief, drafted on December 8th of 2016, stated that no Russian or criminal actors impacted vote counts. This document was pulled just hours before it was to be published due to quote-unquote new guidance. If it had been published, it would have been briefed to both President Obama and President-elect Donald Trump. On December 9th, 2016, a National Security Council meeting was called to gather President Obama's senior national security officials, which included CIA Director Brennan, then Obama DNI James Clapper, Susan Rice, and others. Following that secret meeting, DNI Clapper's assistant sent an email to the intelligence community with the subject line, POTUS tasking on Russia election meddling, tasking ODNI leaders to create a new assessment per the president's request. The House Intelligence Committee oversight report that we released today reveals that, quote, unlike routine intelligence community analysis, the intelligence community assessment was a high-profile product ordered by the president, President Obama. It directed senior intelligence community agency heads and created an intelligence community assessment limited to just 5 analysts using one principal drafter. This is not something that occurs in the normal path of producing an intelligence community assessment that reflects the views across the intelligence community. The production of this intelligence community assessment was subject to unusual directives directly from the president and senior political appointees, especially the former director of the CIA, John Brennan. The House Intelligence Committee oversight report also shows how later that same day, on December 9th, Brennan ordered the publication of quote-unquote substandard reporting on Russian activities, which had previously been withheld from publication of prior assessments because the information was judged, quote, to have not met long-standing publication standards. Some of the information later used in the Obama-ordered assessment over the objections of veteran CIA officers was, quote-unquote, unclear or from unknown sources. The Intelligence Committee's oversight report reveals that CIA Director Brennan overruled senior CIA officers who challenged the Obama-ordered intelligence assessment, stating, quote, we don't have direct information that Putin wanted to get Trump elected. Yet, the Obama-directed assessment was published on January 6, 2017, which explicitly stated, quote, we assess Putin and the Russian government aspired to help President-elect Trump's election chances, when possible, by discrediting Secretary Clinton and publicly contrasting her unfavorably to him, end of quote. The CIA and FBI, then led by John Brennan and James Comey, expressed high confidence in this judgment, while the NSA expressed moderate confidence. Yet, as the report we released today shows, the ICA, the Intelligence Community Assessment, did not cite any report where Putin indicated helping Trump win was an objective. The opposite is true. With regards to the Steele dossier, we now know that one of the source documents that the Obama administration used in the creation of this intelligence assessment in January of 2017 was none other than the discredited, unverified Steele dossier. The House Intel report states, quote, contradicting public claims by then CIA Director Brennan that the dossier was not in any way incorporated into this intelligence assessment. The dossier was referenced in the intelligence assessment's main body text and further detailed in a 2-page assessment annex. John Brennan lied, and he denied using this dossier in this intelligence assessment that President Obama ordered because he knew it was discredited. It was a politically motivated, manufactured document. He directed senior CIA officials to use it anyway. CIA officer told the House Intelligence Committee staff as they investigated this, quote, the director of the CIA, John Brennan, refused to remove it and when confronted with the dossier's many flaws, responded, quote, yes, but doesn't it ring true? Even the bipartisan Senate Select Committee on Intelligence report published in 2020 criticized the FBI's handling of the Steele dossier, noting its completely unverified nature and purposeful sidestepping of intelligence community procedures in its use. Now, President Obama, Hillary Clinton, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, and others, including their mouthpieces in the media, knowingly lied as they repeated the contrived narrative that was created in this January 2017 intelligence community assessment with high confidence as though it were fact. John Brennan, as CIA director, stated in a memo to his agency staff in December of 2016, saying, quote, there is strong consensus among us on the scope, nature, and intent of Russian interference in our presidential election. This is reported by NBC News, confirming that Brennan, along with James Clapper and James Comey, agreed with the CIA's assessment that Russia intervened to help Trump win the presidency. As Obama's director of national intelligence, James Clapper was tasked with overseeing the creation of this assessment in January of 2017 by President Obama, and he expressed confidence in its findings. In a 2018 interview with the Harvard Gazette, he talked about how he provided Trump with the same classified assessment that President Obama received, which included the high confidence judgment that Putin directly ordered the hacking and election interference. Clapper then went on to add, I think they, the Russians, actually influenced the outcome. This is a brief summary of the details that you'll find within the House Majority Staff's report in their investigation into the Obama-directed January 2017 intelligence community assessment that lead us to the very same conclusion that we announced in the release of our documents on Friday. The implications of this are far-reaching and have to do with the integrity of our democratic republic. It has to do with an outgoing president taking action to manufacture intelligence to undermine and usurp the will of the American people in that election and launch what would be a years-long coup against the incoming president of the United States, Donald Trump.
All right, so we got who we got. Cool Dutton Ranch jumps in here and says, dude, Obama's a bigger catch than Epstein by a mile. Okay, yeah, listen, I get it that treason is a bigger deal than this guy who was doing money laundering and sex crimes, but that's not what I'm focused on. What I'm focused on is that it's shitty that they wait until there's something happening to Trump that's very uncomfortable that he doesn't like, that he wants us to stop talking about, to do the thing that we want him to do literally day one. Like, my biggest contention with Trump before this whole thing is that he wasn't attacking the deep state day one, is that he wasn't going after Brennan and Comey and Obama and Hillary day one. Like, he gets all nice out of nowhere. And we have a small window of time to fundamentally change things, to like root out the grossness within the intelligence agencies, to, you know, look at the full extent of what they're doing to undermine us. Like the USAID was the tip of the iceberg with that type of stuff. You know, the fact that they could use government NGO money to like launder money to media outlets and protests and create this like whole fake facade of like news coverage and protests and public outrage, when like the real genuine public isn't even outraged about things. So I've been most upset with him that he hasn't been full force attacking that. And just for him to come out and do it when his back's against the wall with the Epstein stuff, like that pisses me off. Like it's like treating us like we're freaking idiots to say like, oh, here, hey, look at this. Like, do you really think they would be doing this right now if the Epstein thing wasn't happening? And like, that's what pisses me off more than anything, is I don't even know if they were planning on doing this, but they do it the week that people won't let up on the Epstein thing. They drop this bombshells. Like, why didn't you do this the first freaking day? Like, Tulsi hasn't even spoken since the first week. It's like she's been tucked away in a closet, especially after the Iran intel that she spoke about, I think earlier this year or last year, that totally contradicted what Mossad was saying about the Iran situation. I mean, like, are you guys over this? Are you good on the Epstein thing? Are you with Cool Dutton Ranch here? Like, listen, I want Obama to be locked up for treason. Like, if they could almost put Trump in jail for like these far-fetched crimes that they had to manufacture and create, you're telling me we can't get something on Obama for treason? At least, I mean, you know, the definition of treason is to acting against your government with a foreign power, right? So maybe this one specifically doesn't fall into treason, but I mean, you definitely have a crime here. And there's definitely cases of our government working with foreign governments. Like, I mean, all the Ukraine stuff, for example, like overthrowing the Ukrainian government in 2014. So I think it's like just as important like to look backwards as it is looking forwards, and to look into who is responsible for like causing the chaos and like taking the reins of our country and like steering us off into a completely different direction. Guilty of sedition, yeah. Yeah, and if nobody goes to jail over this, then I'm just gonna be even more pissed off because, yeah, I get it. I get the argument that if Trump tries to put these guys in jail, then every president's gonna try to put the last president in jail, and that's a really weird thing for America, for like political imprisonment and like politically charged legal lawfare. But I mean, we gotta cut off the head of the snake. And there's this network of people. I mean, there's the visible network and then the probably invisible network. The visible network is like John Brennan, Clapper, Comey, Obama, Hillary, Soros. But I'm sure there's a layer above them that is like telling them what to do and allowing them to become rich and powerful and successful and influential because they do exactly what they want them to do. So we have to eliminate that. And if he's down for it, then great. But if he's not serious about going all the way with this, then it's more bullshit. The last quarter of Trump's presidency is going to be yeah, see, but I hate that attitude because it's like, what if it's not? Everybody keeps saying, oh, just wait, be patient. It's only 6 months in. Like, guys, like, what if we lose the House at the midterms? And at this rate, I've heard some people say that he lost 14 points with independents, that he's lost 5 points with conservatives because of the Epstein shit. So, like, he has to treat every freaking day like it's his last day of being president. CW says, Brandon, you're young, fearless, and sweet. I hope you stay safe. I couldn't. Lois Lerner came after me. Huh? Week out of a chemo for an ex-husband? Go figure. I'm sorry for your trouble. Epstein's disclosure threatens to bring down and shine too much light on how CIA, MI, military industrial complex, Wall Street, and offshore money flows all work. That's why it won't be escalated. Yeah, I'm sure you're right. But it could be used to take down some people that need to be taken down. Like, let's selectively go through it. I don't know. They aren't treating us like idiots. They're treating us like WTF are you going to do about it? Yeah, that too. And it's been a while since that's actually happened. Russiagate, smoke and mirrors. Epstein is not good, but on the other hand, Joe Biden just fell off the stairs and died. Now his son is doing the rounds talking about his crack addiction. I think Republicans are fine. Yeah, let's I got something from that, by the way. Let's have a good laugh at that. It's gonna be a quick one tonight, but yeah, I just wanted to give an update on that whole thing. But here's Hunter Biden. Like, Hunter Biden, if you guys have ever seen the movie Horrible Bosses, Hunter Biden reminds me of Colin Farrell in Horrible Bosses. It's like he's like the crackhead boss. Like, he's like a cartoon character.
The only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat. Literally, that's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
Free. You can go to your neighborhood convenience store and just get. Anyway, I don't want to tell people how to make crack cocaine, but it literally is a mayonnaise jar of cocaine and baking soda.
How different is the experience?
Oh, it's vastly different. And like, for real, I feel really reluctant to kind of have some euphoric discussion. I know you're not asking me to do that, but have some euphoric discussion about.
Let me go right ahead.
I think this might be kind of the opposite here.
Okay, no, it's the exact opposite. I'm saying I don't want to have the experience of some euphoric recall. That's how powerful crack cocaine is. Does crack cocaine make you act any differently? No. Is it safer than alcohol? Probably. People think of crack as being dirty. It's the exact opposite. When you make crack, what you're doing is you're burning off all the impurities so that it combined with the sodium bicarbonate, which makes it smokable. That's all. You know, all of these actors and, you know, people in the past that talked about they had a problem with cocaine and freebasing. They were smoking crack.
So straw on the stove is the same thing.
Not exactly, but close to it. But it's a little bit different. But anyway, my point about it, your point about it, which I think is true, is that there's a thing about crack that is really insidious. And what it is that anytime, I think one of the reasons that they believe that smoking cigarettes is so addictive is because it combines three really important things. It's habit forming, there's an oral fixation, and there is a ritual combined with it. And so the idea of hand to mouth is a habit and a fixation that we learn very early, even as children. With a pacifier, with a spoon, with your thumb, even to breastfeeding. Okay, so that really, I don't want to get into the psychology of it because I'm no expert, but I do know this, is that you combine with that ignition, combustion, and then you combine the ritual. You have your cigarette in the morning, you have a cigarette when you get out of the car, you have your cigarette with your coffee. Crack is that on steroids. It's over and over. There's ritual to it. There's a ritualized part of it. The combination of all of those addictive behaviors together becomes like really powerful. And the drug in and of itself is a more immediate euphoric sensation and connected to it than, in my experience, cocaine alone.
Does it require more frequency to maintain the high?
Yes. And the capacity to use more than you could otherwise with powder cocaine, just physically to be able to ingest it.
So you're kind of saying that cocaine reaches a certain plateau of euphoria where you can't necessarily get any higher.
In my experience, yes. This is like a PSA. If you want to completely, utterly fuck up your life, I don't think that anything is necessarily, oh, you do it once, you're addicted. But there's about the closest thing that statement could be true would be with crack cocaine.
Wild. I mean, he's so crazy that it's like if you were making a movie about a president with a psycho son, then you would feel like you're overdoing it if you tried to make it what Hunter Biden was. But man, that's gonna be one for the record books. And now I saw something else that was, oh shit, I forgot to tell you guys the good news. So apparently Bill and Hillary Clinton are being subpoenaed for the Epstein stuff. Let's see, we got this report from Benny Johnson. If we can get this Fox News article. I mean, this is the type of stuff that'll get me excited. And is it real? Yes. Let's see. A House panel Wednesday. All right. A House panel voted in favor of subpoenaing former President Bill Clinton and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. Republican Scott Perry offered a motion during House Oversight Committee subcommittee hearing to call on Chairman James Comer to subpoena people with possible links to Ghislaine Maxwell, the imprisoned former associate of late pedo Jeffrey Epstein. Quote, I have a motion to subpoena the following individuals to expand the full committee's investigation into Miss Maxwell, and the list reads as follows. Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, James Bryan Comey, Loretta Lynch, Eric Holder, Merrick Garland, Robert Mueller, Bill Barr, Jefferson berated Sessions a third, or I don't know what that word is. Is that berated? Oh, that's his middle name. Jefferson Byrd Sessions the third, and Alberto Gonzalez. That's the full list, Mr. Chairman, and that's the motion, Perry said. The motion passed by voice vote, meaning there was not an individual roll call. Weird. Subpoena would actually need to be issued by Comer to be active. Oh, what the fuck? So is this not going to be active now because it was a verbal vote instead of a... Yeah, right. Like Bill Barr won't assassinate, hypothetically, or have 10 people assassinated to stop this from happening. All right, the subpoena would actually need to be issued by Comer to be active. House Oversight Committee aide told Fox Digital News subpoenas will be issued in the near future. Comes after Rep. Summer Lee, a member of the Progressive Squad, pushed for a vote on her motion to subpoena any files related to Epstein. The motion passed in an 8-2 vote, also directing Comer to issue that subpoena. Republican lawmakers have dealt with a barrage of media scrutiny on Epstein's case over the last 2 weeks. It's a side effect of the fall of a recent Department of Justice memo effectively declaring the matter closed. Figures on the far right of him are Trump officials like Pam Bondi, accusing them of going back on earlier vows at Trump's direction. DOJ is moving to grand jury files to release Epstein. So that was rejected, as we saw before. So like this right here is what means more than anything to me, is people like that. I mean, like, even though it's a joke testifying before Congress, because most of them are swamp creatures, but like stuff like that is what I want to see. That's what I hoped for and wanted and expected out of Trump after everything they did to him, for there to be some retribution. And if that doesn't end up happening, then I consider this a letdown. Because when the hell else is this going to happen? It's never come close to happening. There's never been the chance of a reckoning of the deep state like there is right now. So that's what I want. I'm going to complain until it happens. And, you know, let's hope that this Epstein thing doesn't get too bad for Trump, because I'm hearing some crazy stuff from his biographer. Don't even want to go there and say it yet, but let's pray on that, guys. And hey, thank you for watching. If you want to speak to me directly, hit me up on my Connect. But as always, stay safe. Much love. Until next time.
You know, we talk about the deep state, we talk about the globalists, inflation versus deflation. Well, I mean,
Here at Mar-a-Lago.
I'm baffled that this isn't front page news.
Do you guys support a specific political party, or do you dislike both of them?
Oh, it worked like a charm on you guys.
Let's go, Brandon.